Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hello everyone, Craig here with another great business to discuss in this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is Reggie, and he's selling his Amazon FBA business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. So welcome to the show, Reggie. How are you doing today?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you for asking. And I'm looking forward to talking more about your business. But before we dive in, let's go over a brief summary of the business. It's an Amazon FBA business in the home niche, created in September 2018. The average monthly revenue for the business is $69,371, and it makes an average of $16,376 net profit each month. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 51252 to learn more about the business, or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So now that I've given a general overview of the business, let's have a look at what's included in the sale. So we have 9 SKUs where the listing transfer is preferred for those, 2 domains including all content and files for the sites, a trademark, an email list of 40 subscribers, and supplier contracts and relationships. And it's important to note that inventory is not normally included in the list price, but further details can be provided to active buyers. Okay, Reggie, now let's hear from you. Can you tell us a little about your background in building and running online businesses?
Yeah, sure. I discovered my passion for business when I was at the Air Force Academy in 2015 studying business management. And shortly after graduating, I got a job that I didn't want originally, which was a nuclear missiles officer. I originally wanted acquisitions, which was the most business-related thing in the military at the time. And when I didn't get that job, I decided in my free time I would become an entrepreneur. So I started off dropshipping. I did that for about a year. And then I realized afterwards that I felt like being on Amazon was the better long-term play. At that point, I had 4 years left on my contract. So I decided, let me spend more money, more time learning Amazon and trying to master it. So I had some success, some failures, where basically all of it happened on this Amazon Seller Central account. And then eventually October 2019, I believe, is when I launched this current product, which is for sale and is generating 90% of the profit. And that's how I got started. And ever since then, I've been obsessed. Was able to leave the military after my contract ended last year. And it's been exactly 1 year. And I'm looking now to sell the business and increase my capital and move it on, take everything to the next level.
Excellent stuff. So what was it that attracted you, sort of e-commerce business model in particular, instead of something like content affiliate or something like that?
To be honest, maybe it was just the way I started. My first business, I started selling iPhone 6 phone cases. And I thought just because I had my degree and I saw things on Instagram, certain cases selling for like $200, iPhone 6 Python skin cases. So I ended up buying like a few hundred of them from China. I launched them and I ended up losing a bunch of money. I had 3 customers. One was my mom. The other one was somebody, I believe it was somewhere in Istanbul, had bought it and then did a chargeback. Overall, it just didn't go well, but I loved the product creation aspect, like creating the images. I learned a lot, making the website, trying to run Facebook ads, all the different types of things is what I really loved. So I think I really loved the product sourcing aspect of it, of taking something from nothing and then making a product and taking it all the way through the product life cycle and selling it. So for me, e-commerce, I really love because I love working on my computer. I love aspects of digital marketing, but I also love the tangible things that come with selling a physical product.
Yeah, it's a really inspiring story, but all the best businesses start with selling a product to your mother. So definitely, definitely good there. So you mentioned that you transitioned from dropshipping into Amazon. Could you just describe what happened there, how you came across the product for this business and how you started it?
Yeah, for this business specifically. So for dropshipping, I was doing high ticket dropshipping. My first store, I was selling crossbows, and I ended up doing $64,000 in revenue in the first couple of months. And eventually I got hit with chargebacks that not even UPS had seen. I had all the insurance in the world, but for some reason, none of it was covered. And that's when I decided to make that transition over. And I bought up every Amazon course I possibly could and was very active on trying to learn everything I could. And at the time, and I still, maybe it's not so much this case anymore, but when it came to product selection, it was choose a list of 10 variables, look at them and then narrow them down and go with your gut feeling or go with what you're interested in or what your skill set is. And for me, I'm a very analytical person and I hated that type of niche selection. So when I had a lot of free time and not a lot of money back then, I built a really, really intense Excel sheet formula that I think I'm looking at like 40 different variables. And I'll put a product or a niche in there and it will shoot out a final score. Then I'll rack and stack it. And then I'll look at each niche and see where I can provide differentiation. And that's where I came across this niche, solved the problem that the niche was looking for. And the rest is history from there. Everything ended up going really well after that.
Excellent stuff. Yeah, it sounds like a unique strategy and it's certainly worked out for you with this business. So you mentioned that you would like the capital from the sale of this business to sort of do your own projects. Is that the main reason you're looking to sell?
Yeah, that's ultimately the main reason. I spent years, lots of money on courses, failed product. My first Amazon product was a shower head. I've done a bunch of things and I've lost a lot of money along the way, broken even where I could. And now I just kind of want to take chips off the table. And right now with this current product, the main reason I want to take it off the table is a few years ago, it seemed like the Amazon's terms of service were not that clear. And at the time, people were saying, if you want to launch another brand, you had to have a separate Amazon Seller Central account. And at the time I was selling a chef knife and it was doing really, really well. I was number 6 selling chef knife in 2018 before I stocked out on December 6th. And could never recover from it. But at the time, while that was happening, I was saying to myself, should I start a second brand or another product opportunity from this list? But I was nervous to do that because I didn't want to risk my Amazon account getting shut down for having 2 brands underneath. This is like pre-brand registry before all that stuff transitioned over. So my name LLC, like Reggie LLC, my business, I figured, okay, this is my current Amazon account. If I create another account and put it under a sole proprietorship, they would be technically 2 separate business legal entities and I'd be okay. So I created a second Seller Central account. I never even verified it. I just made the username, password, and the chef knives started taking off at the time. And I decided, okay, I'm just going to focus on this because it's working now. There's no need to test multiple products and keep moving, keep launching. I can just focus on this one product. So I completely forgot about the other account, never verified it, never created a UPC code, never did anything with it other than fill out the basic information. And you fast forward a couple of years later, which was October of 2020, Amazon did their scrape for Q4 and they said I was tied to another Amazon account and ended up finding out that it was my old Amazon account. So I'm in the process of trying to get that old account verified. When this happened, Amazon said that they were going to shut down my account within 30 days and to remove all inventory. That for me was like the death sentence. I was like, man, this product, which is the one that's for sale right now, is going to fall apart. I don't have the skills or the resources right now or the team or the headspace to contact Seller Central. Like people who listen to this podcast have ever contact Seller Central to try and fix a problem, let alone a multiple account suspension. Like good luck. Like I tried for a long time. It was so stressful and I didn't get anywhere. So when that happened, I typed in Google, Amazon lawyer, I opened up the first 5 tabs, called basically everyone, emailed everyone, tried to get their consensus on what I should do. And they were saying different things, but the biggest thing was, oh, you're fine. Don't worry about it because your other account is good to go. You just have to verify the old account or verify the account that I tried to make, close it down, and then come back to this primary account and everything will be good to go. So that's what I've been trying to do. However, because I left the military last year, my address on that account is different. So I've had to switch addresses, get an electric bill under my name, set up a second LLC to verify the account. And I'm one step away from verifying the account and clearing everything. But I asked myself as a business owner, is it worth doing that risk to have Amazon look at this account again and say that I should be shut down? So what ended up happening is they ended up shutting down my Mexico and Canada accounts, which for me is fine because I wasn't selling on there anyway. So all profit and sales have been maintained. And the listing's been running just fine with no issues since the account notice. For me, I think to myself, okay, if I hold on to this business longer, it'll sell at a much higher valuation. However, I don't want to risk launching new products. I don't want to stand up another Amazon account in a separate LLC and then have them tied to this account and risk it. So I think for me right now, I take the chips off the table it'd be a great buy for somebody who wants to pick this up, who wants to add to their niche or just have a really good cash cow. And for me, I can take chips off the table and start on the next thing. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. That's some great insight for potential buyers, and anyone with the skill sets in Amazon can really do something with this business, it seems. So is there anything you learned from this business that you would apply to future sites or businesses?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I learned initially, I mean, this is still kind of out in the space, I think, in Amazon specifically. A little bit more backstory. While I was in the military, in between launching products and saving money for the next product launch, I was at Masterminds, and I ended up consulting and being like a mini COO for a company that is in the process of selling right now for about 4 million. And having talked and helped other Amazon sellers, I feel like the one thing I realized is how massive an opportunity it is on Amazon. And this product is not like something that's super crazy looking. If you were to see it, you'd be like, wow, that product is making that much money like per month. I see the opportunity in Amazon. So for me, I realize how amazing of an opportunity it is and how I can look at Amazon find opportunity, make a bunch of money, and then also compete against huge brands. So like there's a bunch of everyday products that we're using every day that these big brands think they're too good to be on Amazon. And like all the time, I see them lose considerable market share for not being on Amazon. So for me, the biggest thing I've learned is incubating a brand on Amazon or starting on Amazon to compete with huge brands, and or finding these small product categories like I found and allowing Amazon to do its thing. You know, since COVID has happened, the search volume for this product has almost doubled, and it's not really a seasonal product. So profitability is relatively stable throughout the whole year. And yeah, just really fully starting to internalize how profitable Amazon can be.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you've seen that firsthand. So you mentioned before that you tried launching some products and they sort of didn't quite work out as you expected. Was there any other things that you tried with this business that didn't work out for you?
Things that didn't work out with me. So I was always thinking what you hear on YouTube and what you hear in courses, in my opinion, even most masterminds, they're usually 8 months late or doing what a lot of the other high-level sellers are doing. But I've always been trying to be forward-thinking. Everybody was still doing discounts. I was learning about rebates and reviews. And when everybody was doing rebates and reviews, I've been learning about, okay, that's never going to work long-term and sustainable. For me personally, I need to focus on listing optimization and PPC. So that's what's been my focus primarily. It's one of the biggest reasons why the account is where it's at right now in terms of profitability. But things that haven't worked, I'm not really good at like social influencing or driving outside traffic. It's never been my forte. I've never really tried to master that skill set. So I've never tried running Facebook ads to this thing. The one thing I've been hearing a lot recently is how powerful Amazon Live is. So I had reached out to a few influencers in the space that I'm in and had them do like a little product shout out. Most of the influencers, like as if you're to contact them on Instagram or YouTube, you know, they want way more money than I think is financially viable. So I tested out a small product test on a few Amazon Live influencers, and I didn't see that much of a difference worth the cost. So for me, that didn't really work. And that's really about all I've tried, to be honest. I did a PPC launch on this product with 0 reviews, early reviewer program, and did PPC myself in the beginning, outsourced it for most of its product life cycle, I guess you could say, and then took it back a few months ago because I realized there were some things that they were doing that I wanted them to do better. I'm not the most expert person on PPC, although I feel like I understand it better than most. There still needs some optimization to be done on the account. So that's one way of providing value. But I'd say outside traffic is things that I have not really tried, but specifically Amazon Live, I've tried and it didn't work for me. I think the better thing to do would be to own the Amazon Live channel as if you were the influencer. I don't want to be an influencer in this niche. So I've had to use other existing channels and they just kind of shout you out for like 10 seconds and it's not really ROI positive for my product.
Yeah, and all these things you've tried is good for a buyer to know. It's like give some insight of what can and what cannot potentially work for this business. So in that line of thought, if you were to keep the business, what are some ways that you try to grow it?
So the way I would try to grow it, and something maybe I should update the description on for this listing, you know, it is 9 SKUs, but it really is just one product with a bunch of variations. So it is like a one product Amazon business, you could say. And the way that it worked out is when I discovered this niche and I entered it, the top competitors had 2,000 reviews. They're gone now. They had 2,000 reviews, and I realized the best thing I could do once I became page one, position one, was to maintain my defenses, which was at the time a lower price. And I ran that for a really, really long time, which is why this product is now at above 13,000 reviews. So for a defensive strategy, like what works and one way to grow it is to constantly launch new variations. So I'm on the lookout of variations that start to become competitors. And once they become a competitor, I launch a very similar variation on my listing. And when I do that, that new variation with 0 reviews gets attached to all the reviews of the product. So now at 13,000. So it increases the conversion rate even more and keeps competitors at bay. So that's like the first thing that would be a way that a seller can grow it. And right now I have 3 more variations, 1 ready to launch, 2 in sample phase at the manufacturer. And if they get on a one-on-one call with me, I would not want to say it here just to protect a future buyer. But there's another variation I think would do extremely, extremely well that I do not have the resources or skill set for, but I think would do really well. Outside of that, it'd be a lot of, if someone had an existing list, so I don't mind revealing it and I hope it's okay. It's in the home and kitchen niche. So specifically the kitchen niche. When someone had an existing list or was really good with influencers or extremely good with PPC optimization, that's another way that they could provide value here other than constantly launching variations. It's not a product category that has a patent on it. So in that sense, it's not defensible, but my defense has been like the past year running a low price profitably, as you can see, and increasing price now actually is another thing we can do. So I had listed the product is below $10 a unit, and I listed probably at the time 30% below the market competition, but still at a very profitable ROI. And I recently increased price a little bit over the last like 4 months, and the market followed me. So I also think that you can increase price again just a little bit and the market will follow again. Because when I first got into this niche, the average product price was around $15. And I basically came in and lowered the price significantly because of the product type that I had. And now the category has changed as a whole. And I am pretty confident by raising price slowly over time, the market will follow you because the market itself wants more money. Like your competitors want more money and they're willing to move with you because the price is so low on their end. They're not making much money because they're not converting at the same rate that I am because I'm page one, position one, or near there for almost every one of their keywords. These new sellers are people who have a lot less than 13,000 reviews. They want to follow you as well, because if they're just getting a few extra sales with more profit, it's worth it to them than to try and beat me on reviews, because I came in with a long-term vision that this was not going to be a product that I wanted to get profitable in 3 months, even though it was in 3 months. I tried to take it from the beginning and say, how can I get this product on Amazon as long as possible, as profitable as possible for the long term, not the 6-month window, not the 1-year window, for the 5-year window.
Absolutely, yeah. And it sounds like you've got a pretty solid brand there where you're able to defend against competitors who release similar products. So that's really good, and probably that was part of your long-term plan. As for the day-to-day work you do for this site, could you just describe what you do for maintenance?
Yeah, well, it's at the point now where I just reorder inventory and look at PPC and try and touch it up. I started doing lightning deals a few months ago. I don't know why. I think it's because I had failed at doing lightning deals when I first started Amazon. For this product category, lightning deals really help. So about once a week, I'll log in, subscribe to a new lightning deal, touch up PPC for a little bit, and then look at my inventory, see if I need to reorder it, and then I'll reorder it if I need to. It's extremely simple. The product itself, there is no moving parts. It's not complicated at all. It doesn't really break. It's a very simple product. And customer service used to be kind of a pain because it is a low price product. You're getting a lot of orders every day. But because of Amazon's new communication policies, people don't really reach out nearly as much as they used to. Before, I would get like maybe 7 or 8 inquiries a day, specifically during COVID when shipping times were low or all different types of reasons, not for product quality issues, but just customer inquiries. But that has probably crawled down to maybe 1 inquiry a week. So maintenance now is extremely low, and it's an easy product to have. If you have a VA or you can do it yourself in less than an hour a week, for sure.
Excellent. Yeah, and then that allows a buyer to focus on the growth potential of the business. So what skills or requirements do you think there are for someone who's not familiar with this niche or business model?
Skills or requirements, I would make an SOP or hand off an SOP or step the buyer through the process. But the supplier relationship I've had, it's been over a year now, so they know exactly what I want, how I want it. There's really nothing you really need there other than contacting them. They speak English well enough. Say, I want this many more units, and they make it, and then they ship it either straight to Amazon now that COVID restrictions have finally lifted, or to a 3PL that I was forced to find when COVID restrictions had happened, which my 3PL is really good, by the way. No issues there. So it's just basic communication there. The communications with the customers, I already have quick replies already built out on Amazon. And besides, Amazon's really tightened up what you can and can't say anymore. So I have the most white hat replies ever. And it's worth, I think, refunding a customer instead of trying to deal with the negative review that comes from it. So in terms of customer service, the quick replies are already handled. For designing new variations, I mean, that kind of stuff can be done on Fiverr. I've been using Canva to design the variations. And when you see this product, you'll realize how simple it is of a design. You're not over here creating new patterns or color schemes or new crazy elements. It's a very simple design. So in that aspect, anybody can do it, in my opinion. And if not, you can outsource it to Fiverr for less than $20 per design. And then after that, the listing is already extremely optimized. And PPC, I'd say, is pretty optimized. I'd say it's about 85% of the way there. And taking it the rest of the 15% while launching variations is going to keep this product around for the long term, especially considering the number of reviews that it has right now. So very, very simple product. I think anybody with the amount of capital to purchase this business definitely has either the team, the VA, or the knowledge themselves to run it all by themselves.
Yeah, sure. That makes a lot of sense. And you mentioned 3PL. You work with 2 different 3PLs right now, one USA based. Is that right?
Yeah. So one of the problems that I was running into when COVID had happened, like everybody seemed like they were out because everybody was just shipping stuff into Amazon. And then overnight, you had, I would imagine, thousands of sellers contacting every single 3PL they could find to try and find a good storage option. One of the downsides to my product is, good or bad, however you see it, it is extremely light, extremely small. And that is not that good when you look at warehouses that charge on a per unit fulfillment fee. So I was trying to find a 3PL where I could also turn it into and expand to other sales channels, which I really haven't, like trying to get on like Etsy, Walmart, or some of these other sales channels and use this 3PL as, you know, either for seller fulfilled prime or all these different things. And I couldn't find it because their per unit cost was too high on a product that was less than $10. So I just struggled to really find 3PLs that made sense because all I wanted was a cheap 3PL to hold my units so that whenever I needed them dripped into Amazon, I could do it from Amazon. So I reached out to a few. I found one that was, I can tell they're definitely relatively new. And their thing is that they're 25% cheaper than Amazon fulfillment storage. And I already know Amazon has a very competitive price. So I put a very small number of units there. I've been trusting the lion's share, 90% of the units, to another well-known distributor. And so far, I've had absolutely no problems with them at all. But thankfully, with the COVID restrictions lifted, yeah, I can put all my units into Amazon. And the great thing is the per unit price is anywhere between 44 cents to a little over 50 cents per unit landed into Amazon. So what I was doing, and things that I had failed in the past, was when you have such a low landed per unit cost, it makes it really, really easy to order thousands and thousands of units and not have to worry about your lead times, because now you can just order 10,000, 20,000 units. It costs a lot less than if you were to order that at $5 a unit's landed. And then what I would do is I would just ship them all into Amazon. And because I'm one of the top seller in the category, what happens is I have an amazing sell-through rate, and Amazon will consistently always remove my long-term storage fee. So I'm turning over really, really fast. And it's basically like free storage, in my opinion, on Amazon. So it makes it extremely great when it comes to managing your lead times, your logistics. You just order more than you think, put it directly into Amazon. Right now you can, and let Amazon do its thing and waive the storage fee. It's pretty simple.
Excellent stuff. Yeah, some great insights there. And what do you think are the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
The biggest risk is going to be my biggest risk right now, which is the account suspension that's looming over my head. And it's why I decided to list on Empire Flippers. There's obviously other exchanges, right? If you're listening to this podcast and you're probably thinking about picking up different businesses, you know there's other brokerages you can go to. And I know that there's other brokerages I can go to. I've known Empire Flippers. I have friends that work for them, that have worked for them. I've heard nothing but good experiences from them. I've heard about their Empire Flippers competition, who I've reached out to recently and personally have not had the best experience, even just reaching out to them through email. To kind of circle back, the biggest risk is this suspension. And because Empire Flippers has like a dedicated transfer team and they do such high volume all the time, they give me full confidence that they can transfer this listing to another buyer. And when you're doing the listing transfer, just the Amazon asset is moving from one Amazon account to another. And it's my Amazon account that's technically at the highest risk, not these products, as these products are very, very safe. I haven't even done super URLs on them because I want to keep it as white hat as possible. So that's the biggest risk, is the suspension. But for the buyer, it wouldn't really be a risk because you have the dedicated transfer team and the sale wouldn't happen if the asset was never transferred. So that biggest risk is removed, number one. The second risk is to the business will be new competitors. So there's always new competitors in this niche. And that's why I'm constantly launching variations. So if you continue to launch variations, optimize PPC, and if you can drive any kind of good quality outside traffic, this product will continue to grow even more, and it'd be pretty crazy. But in terms of risks, I would say it would be new competition coming in. But I've built 13,000 reviews, I think kind of speaks for itself. And if you were to see my listing, how optimized it is compared to the competition, you would see that those risks are highly mitigated.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You've definitely mitigated some of the risk. And yeah, these are all good stuff for the buyer to know. So it's good that you're being transparent about it. Overall, we've discussed a lot, but putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think this is a business worth buying?
I would say it's worth buying if you're trying to expand your product portfolio, but you want to do that in a way that is sustainable, or you want to cash flow in a sustainable way the rest of your products. I think this is a really good one. So last quarter, I averaged 25% profit margin and a 370% ROI. And if you're trying to find, and that's after PPC, a lot of people will say, oh, I have a 25% profit margin, I have a 30, 40% profit margin, but then you throw PPC, cost of goods and taxes in there. And then now they're at close to the 20 and 125, 150, 175 ROI. So to be at 25% profit margin and 370% ROI, as the number one seller in this niche, you usually look at number one best sellers in the niche and they're just, their ROI isn't that good because they're so cheap. And that's what's beautiful about this business is the top competitors in this niche are either from China, you can tell because their ability to get the product costs super low, or they're people starting out on Amazon and they just chose a horrible niche to get into because they're competing against me at 13,000 reviews with a high optimized listing. The new Amazon sellers, they just kind of come up for a little bit, then they go away. And the Chinese competitors, they can't really compete because the difference for them, if my landed cost is 40, 50 cents a unit and they get a landed cost that's half of that, well, it's the difference of 25 cents. And I eat them back on having an optimized listing and 13,000 reviews that I spent the time and defensive moat to build. Capital efficient. And then the second thing, so like you can use that to really like grow your other things. And then the second one would be if someone would buy it in the kitchen niche specifically, because it'd be a great upsell if you have anything in the home and kitchen space, or if you are targeting mothers. Mothers really love this because it is something that they use that the rest of the family can also use. And it's a common pain point inside of the kitchen. So if you have that audience or that type of brand, or you're looking to add an asset to your portfolio at 25% profit margin, 330% ROI, that's turning over like crazy with sustained search volume that isn't going anywhere, that doesn't completely dive off in Q1. In January, I did about $16,000 in profit. Overall, it's a really good product category for what I mentioned.
Sure, yeah. And about that profit margin, if, like you say, buyer is able to increase the prices, then that profit margin could potentially get higher.
Yeah, it'll get way higher. It'll get closer to 30%. Then what's amazing is the market will follow, because when I increased a little bit, the market followed within a day or two. Everybody followed, especially with Amazon's pricing rules and how everyone is trying to like match the price. Some people are running, algorithms in the background to match the lowest price. Increasing price, I probably should have done that before trying to list the business again. So it increased the valuation, but it'll be a good pickup for the next buyer. And I'm looking to give it to somebody that this is my heart and soul. I've sacrificed so much for this, relationships. I've sacrificed my health for this, like everything for this business, but also for this product. And I want to see it succeed. I want to see it in the hands of a seller. When I look a year or two from now, it's still going to be there on Amazon, or I can point to it, at 30,000 reviews and be like, I helped start this.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's your brand. It's your enterprise that you've built from scratch. All excellent stuff. So regarding the sale of this business, would you commit to a non-compete?
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's mainly because I know I couldn't compete. There's like nobody can come in, start a new type of product that I'm doing that is in this niche at one review and expect to compete, because whoever buys this product would hopefully take my advice and launch a variation. So yes, I'm completely fine doing the non-compete.
Fair enough. And how much support are you willing to offer buyers? Are you going for the standard 30 days of email and Skype support?
Yeah, I would go definitely like beyond that. I would do that and definitely beyond that, but I would be extremely confident within the first few days. They'd be like, oh, we got this, because it is really that easy. I would think, as I never bought a business before, like I said, this is the first business I'm selling, but I would imagine like even like a year out, like Q4 may happen. There may be a random question, which there shouldn't be. Like, I want this product to succeed. So like whoever buys this from me, I would like to just kind of maintain contact here and there. They could shoot a question like, oh, what about this? Or what do you think about this variation? They shoot me a message. I'll be happy to say, like, I think it'll do better than this one. And I'm happy to provide that kind of support. But like being legally bound for a year, like I'm not trying to do that. That's for sure. But I'll definitely do the standard 30 days, maybe a little bit longer. But feel free to contact me in the long term if you have a question. But I would imagine that you won't.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm sure potential buyers will really appreciate that extra support. And are you open to negotiating something like an earnout?
I'm not, honestly. If I wanted an earnout, I would hold on to this business. I want to take the chips off the table now and start the next thing, because for me, I know the opportunity cost of not launching another business and not deploying that capital for me is big. So I'm not interested in an earnout.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to share that I might have missed?
No, other than that, no. If you could put my contact info down here or whatnot, then I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has. But the biggest thing I want to just hit on is the reason why I'm selling this business is it just makes sense for me to de-risk myself by getting this asset off of this Amazon Seller Central account. And the best way to do that is to sell it. I would hold on to it if I could for another 6 months, have the valuation increase even more. But I had a friend of mine who, when I first started really taking off with this current product, she was in the sourcing phase, and now she's doing 40 grand a month on her current product. And I had identified that product before she did, but I'm too scared to launch new products right now without first closing out this current business. So I know the opportunity cost for me is really high not to launch the next business, but I think ultimately that I'm not interested in doing an earnout, but it's a perfect opportunity for somebody to pick up this asset because you're going to get it at a discount to its future value, in my opinion. And I think it'd be a good win-win all around, to be honest. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm sure you'll be very successful with your future endeavors, and we wish you the best of luck for today.
Awesome.
Thank you very much for your time, Reggie. It's been great talking to you.
Sweet. Thanks a lot, Craig.
All right, everyone, thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 51252. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.